Hello, everybody. You are here on another episode of Split Happens. My name is Kelly, owner of K Collections Boudoir Photography, where I put an emphasis on helping women find themselves behind my camera.
And I'm Jessica Maloney, licensed mental health counselor and business coach for female entrepreneurs looking to become highly sought after and highly paid.
And I'm Donna Rudowitz. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and rapid transformational coach, and I help both women and men find the best relationship with themselves and attract true love.
Happy summer, guys.
Yes, happy summer.
Can I just say, like, you guys are exceptional. I love that we have this boudoir photographer here, the relationship coach here. Yes. I just think it's so wonderful how we can really step out of, like, our traditional roles and take them into something so much more powerful. And I just think that's so wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, when I started, it's been a whole year too. I just want to go ahead and preface that. My very first episode was at the library.
Yes, it was our first episode with the Middle Country Library.
Oh, that was before my time.
They have a podcast studio. A very good friend, Angela Reyna, who's also an amazing content creator on the island. Hi, Angela. Connected us.
That's right.
And it just took off from there. And then, I mean, I know my girl Jess from all the amazing networking that we do together on the island. And I was like, hey, Jess, I think you tie it together like perfectly. And here we are a whole freaking year later.
Wow. A year goes fast.
Yeah. So fast. Yeah. And it's really just taken on momentum, and to hear the amount of support and people that are actually listening and people that come into my inbox or people that I'll see out in public. And they're just like, wow, like you're really, and it's not about me. Because, you know, when they say,
it is. No.
That's our role here,
Come on, Kel. Let's really, you know.
And when they say, no, I mean the people listening.
Calling her right out.
It's about it's a passion project. Like when my divorce started 3 years ago, and I said, I was like, you know what? There's not enough people out here talking about it. And I know so many people that are going through it. Like, let's take the shame out of it. So here we are a year later, taking the shame out of it and talking about everything in between. And we come to the table, we kind of wing it, we sit down, we're like, what do you want to talk about this week, girls? And one of the topics I think that is true to my heart and something I've been dealing with lately is building a wall from I'll use the word abuse, and I'm not being dramatic, that continues to ensue years later. Like, how do you not keep taking 10 steps forward to take 11 steps back, you know, cry to your shrink about the same crap over and over again that's never going to change? How do we build those walls, and how do we basically block out all of the things about our ex that never changed or could change? And that's obviously why we're divorced from them. I mean, I blatantly, get called names that I feel are very unfair because there's a lot of anger, and it's downright abusive, and it really just knocks me back sometimes. And I'd love to hear your feedback on how you overcome that, because it's disheartening, and it takes away from my identity of who I'm trying to become post-divorce. So I'd love to hear some feedback on your experiences with that.
You want to go first? And then
well, it's so funny. I actually just had this conversation with a client of mine because her daughter is now a teenager. And when she went through the divorce, the daughter was very young. And at some point in time, the daughter filled in gaps of the story on her own because the mother didn't want to share, which I totally respect. You know, there are certain things that our children don't have to know. But now that her daughter is older and she has some of these false recollections, it's now time for my client to come up and share some of these things. And she's been so turned off. She literally said, well, I don't want him to yell at me. I don't want to go back into that. And I remember when I first met her, I used the word abuse and she started crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, what you're experiencing is PTSD.
I have it. I know I do. It's bad.
I think many of us do in some form or another. Maybe it's not diagnosable, but there are aspects of a lot of these mental health conditions.
I call it post-traumatic divorce disorder. I actually, I termed it post-traumatic divorce.
Well, it's true.
It's not in the book of, but it's true. It's really true.
Yeah.
Well, I love that, but I also hate that because like sometimes my clients will come to me with these names of things like, have you heard of this? I'm like, no, that's not real. Stop getting your mental health diagnoses on TikTok.
By me, yes, no.
I love it.
But that makes sense. I'll allow it. But to answer your question, I don't know if it's that we put walls up. I just think that it's we take them down. We stop hiding, and you have to build your own exterior.
So I know for me, like I mourn the fact, because in my head, if it was my way and I was living my reality, we would both come to grips with the fact that our marriage didn't work. We would both essentially be the best of friends because we share 3 children in this world together. And we would be this coolest, most strongest, united front to co-parent our children together. We would encourage each other. We would be positive about how you're parenting and vice versa. And if we felt that somebody was falling short, we would be there to help pick up the pieces. But instead, I feel that I got a situation where the other parent is watching and ridicules and just wants to make digs at every move. And it's disheartening. So when I say build a wall, I called my mom, I'm crying. I'm like, he's just rotten. And like the way I'm being spoken to is disgusting. And like, I'm out here hustling my butt off to compensate,
Well, I think you have to look at it from a sense of, number one, if he were able to do that, you wouldn't be divorcing.
Well, that's what I started off by saying.
Right. So first thing, you wouldn't be divorcing.
Remember this, ladies.
And 2, here's the real, what I think the real break of our suffering is. And I'm going to say this to you, and I say this with love, right? And to all of our ladies, is if there is something inside of you that is igniting from whatever he's saying to you, that means somewhere deep inside you hold a belief system that part of it may be true.
Oh, 3,000%. Because when you're abused and told bad things about yourself for 20 years.
So when you feel it, so it's resonating, right? 100%. So there's something that's reflecting back to you. And what I do, and I when I say this, guys, this is hard, right? Yeah. This is not easy stuff, but it's looking at it as what could be good about this? What is this comment? What is this behavior? What is there for me that's within inside of me that I need to address, right? And so that's number 1. But number 2 is also going through, and exactly what you said, it's not putting a wall up or avoiding it. It's allowing yourself to feel it, because that's what the distress is. The distress is our body trying to move out of the pain. And if we could just allow ourselves to sit in it, it will dissolve on its own, believe it or not.
I like it.
Because everything will save itself. Like really, everything will. And it doesn't say that life is unicorns and butterflies. And I'm not saying to put your head in the ground and forget about it. What I am saying is you're allowed just to say, this stinks, right? And this is not fair, because guess what? It's not.
Yeah.
However, it's my reality. And when you come face to face with your reality, now you can make a choice. You could say, do I want to continue allowing this to go on? Or do I want to make a different choice and allow myself for it to process through? And there's a great book by Michael Singer, and I recommend this, and it's called The Untethered Soul.
Ooh,
and if anybody has, with just how to process it so it doesn't stick, then... Because again, let's go back to something else. When you go through your divorce or your separation or relationship troubles, and you're going through to process the pain, you're not getting a lobotomy, right? So you have to remember this. You're not removing it.
No.
You're just learning how to move. What I like to say is memory without the emotional pain is wisdom. So we're moving from pain, and we're taking the experience and we're moving it to wisdom. So now we could learn from it, we could use it, and we could get rid of what we don't want and keep what we do. What happens is when your ex says something to you that triggers you, your initial response will likely always be the same as it always was. You'll go into defense. You'll go into, it's not true. Right. You'll go into, I can't stand this. You'll go, because that's your conditioning.
Well, it's just gross too. It's like, I've almost built the foundation of who I am, and I'm so proud of everything that I've done. It's like, don't talk to me like that.
Well, here's what you're going to say.
That's also the process of change. When you go through a personal evolution, no matter who it is, whether it's your partner, your ex-partner, or a friend or a family member. Yeah. Oftentimes when you are changing for the better, other people see that as a reflection that they're not changing, or that they're incapable
and they get triggered more often.
And they are triggered. So they're going to try to pull you down. I learned that from Jillian Michaels, actually.
Yes.
Do they even know that they're doing it, ladies? Because I know you have more of a mental foundation than I do.
Yeah,
it's subconscious.
It's control. It's an element of control. And so it's also paying attention to what your brain constantly loops to, because you're in a loop as well. So here comes this person who's trying to control. So now they say a statement that triggers you. Your brain goes on a loop and you keep looping. And a way to get out of the loop is when you notice you're in the loop and you're like, wow, I'm in this loop. You just say to yourself, pause. Donna, pause.
Yeah, redirect.
I like that.
And it will break your loop automatically.
Well, there's something in our brain which I love speaking about, and I've taught on this subject. It's the reticular activating system.
Yes, RAS.
Okay.
Yes, your RAS system, and it is a system in your brain that creates that loop and
or the
perpetuates
story.
that loop.
Are we saying, so to break it down for people who don't speak in like this language? So it's the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves. Is
Well,
pretty
it's
much
ruminating thoughts. You're ruminating
You
thoughts.
can program your mind. So we have about 75,000 thoughts a day. 91% of them are identical to the thoughts that you had yesterday and the day before that, and the day before that.
Just different versions.
Right. So the amount of change that you actually have to make in your thought process is only 9%.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it can change the trajectory of your entire life.
It's kind of like picking out a palette anywhere you go. Like, which portfolio do I want my
What
life
do I want to think
be?
about? Have you ever thought, like, what do I think about
Right.
during the day?
Well, I
No,
know-
you're just
right.
firing, especially as women. I feel like we're
Well, I know
always
for
going.
me, I feel like I am doing the work and then I get really high and then it's like, oh crap, this still exists in my life, you know, and we can go months without an occurrence. And then he could be in a bad mood, having a bad day. And I'm like, am I going to have to deal with this for the rest of my life? And it's very...
If you have kids?
Yeah.
Until they
but
turn
no.
adult age.
Yes, but no. That's how
He's
I
not
want
going to
to...
stop.
Right.
But why do you have to take that on as your stuff?
You don't.
Right. I guess it also depends like what kind of day you're having. Like, you know? Right.
Well, that's where all that personal work comes in that we always
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that it's never going to affect you again, but the stronger we become and the more we rewrite those stories on, you know, when this other person says these things to you, what does that actually mean? Is that a reflection of you or a reflection of them?
Right. And I'm thinking, and the reason I'm giggling is because your ex is very, very consistent. He shows up.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing he is.
Yeah.
He's consistent.
They usually are.
Right? And they're consistent in the way that's not really, you know, like helpful. And that's where, when you could look at it, I think we also need to bring in humor into our situations.
I like it.
Ladies. We have to bring in humor and be like, okay, he's consistent.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Okay, just exactly what I expected.
Are you okay?
Are you
Okay, buddy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's
gonna make it?
It's so
You're so upset.
It's right. It's like, oh yeah.
Why
know?
are you so mad?
Oh my God. I have to find like
I'm not mad. I don't want to be mad at all.
I follow these guys on TikTok. They have a podcast, Shits and Gigs. Shout out if this
We'll
gets
tag
over
them.
the pond.
We'll tag them.
But they read like Reddit threads or like TikTok comments.
Yes.
And there was one about like the greatest comebacks to like
Okay.
men to
I know what
basically
you're
put them
talking
in their
about.
place.
Yes,
And like,
yes.
I wish I pulled it up to be ready for this, but like some of them were like, how dare you speak to me from that height? You know, and it's kind of like you kind of like give them like these subtle digs. And it's like, you know, when they're coming at you, especially like, you know, from my experience, you know, dealing with somebody who's a narcissist and understanding the dynamics of what that looks like and what that means, just changing the way that you're perceiving this and being like, oh, yeah, what's going on?
And also for narcissism, I don't know if you do this, because how old are your kids?
Well, 19, 14, and 13.
Okay. Because at this point, they're old enough to communicate with him directly.
Correct. But I also try not to put that on them too much either, because I have this very weird...
Do you have a parenting app that you
we
use?
did, and it just expired,
to.
and it's not free anymore, and I refuse to pay to speak
You got
to
to then you got to text or something, because
I always say, hi, this is about the children, just to preface.
Because otherwise, because you give a narcissist an inch, they will take a mile.
Yeah.
They will figure out something to say.
100%.
They will figure out, and again, I can't tell you what to do, but I will say that getting a parenting app that takes it out of your regular text, because every time you're looking at your text, you're wondering, God, what is he going to do? Is he going to, is he texting? Is he not? And you deserve it has to be separated.
It's leverage for my ex too. He wants to feel like he's got leverage. And I'm like, what's up with that? What's up? Just go live your life and be amazing.
Just
and
live my life.
Right. Like, stop, you know? I guess he just feels that there was a lot of like unfairness. But
well, it will always be, you know, people to narcissists are not people, they're objects. And you will always be the object until he finds another object to manipulate and control.
Yeah, well,
and that's
you would think he did, but
you'll know, because he won't be connecting with you so much, you know, on those things. You'll know,
right?
But yeah, that's why you have to be the one to set the boundaries, and you have to be the one to set the standards. Yeah, and he has to rise up to yours. You don't lower yourself to his.
That part, say it again.
He has to rise up to your standards,
right?
you're not going to lower yourself to his.
I like that a lot.
And that's where you set the commands is, and I am not going to text you through my personal phone. I'm not going to email you. We're going to use this parenting app to talk about the children. If he texts you outside, you you say, I'm not going to answer. You are blocked from my phone. You must block them. You have to block them. You've got
certain situations. I think that's really helpful and really necessary. I know not everybody needs to utilize that.
I know there are actual too mature people out there that can communicate about their children, and I'm like, my God, that looks.
You can.
I know.
So you know what it is rational people could communicate with rational people. So three of us, let's say we're here, right? We could communicate. Even if we have disagreement, we could say, okay, let's do this, let's do that. And we could agree to disagree and we could go on because we're rational. Irrational, you can never ration with irrational. So even though this person thinks, and it looks like, oh, I think I could have a decent communication. I think the moment you give that inch, it's a win on that side and they will take it because there is no rational thought. You got to remember narcissism, and not everybody is a full narcissist. They have tendencies thereof. They lie, they manipulate, and everybody's an object in their game. Even though it appears they could be kind. Maybe there's one kind moment. We get
charismatic. They're charming.
Your ex. And I'm
that's what makes it hard. That's what makes the abuse so hard because nobody could see it. You're not bruised. You're not cut up. And when you tell somebody this happened, they're like, no, like
I don't even think they're being I know in my situation, I don't even see him being intentional. I just
they're not intentional.
He's like dumb,
but they're not intentional. It's subconscious. It's all
subconscious. I don't know. Do you think it's fully subconscious?
Okay, so I think here's what
I mean.
Not
outside
all
of
the time. I agree with you. I don't think it's all the time. I do think that there has to be some conscious behavior here. However,
patterns of behavior.
The narcissism, the psychotic break that caused the narcissism is subconscious. It's buried. They're not aware of that.
There's a lot of trauma there.
There's the trauma, right?
Now I want to really go back, what caused them to be a narcissist? Are they
born
that way or is there
when I met my ex, I was like, oh my God, I can help him.
And so ladies, here's what we're going to tell you to do before you get married or you date again. Ask for a psych report. Look at financial.
Stop trying to think you can fix them.
Don't fix them. And if there's a serious history of mental illness, think again.
And let me just tell you, for me,
because you're not changing it.
Listen, I don't want to put every man in a bubble, but I feel if a man is not in some kind of counseling post-divorce, that's a red flag while you're dating. Or if they didn't do some kind of work or some kind of ownership of where they went wrong and everything is their ex's fault, you hear that, it's very true. That's a red flag if a man says that their entire
male or female,
correct, that their entire marriage was the other person's faults. That's definitely a red flag. So you definitely have to be aware of that.
And there are, and I want to say there's both men and women, right, who are willing to do the work, and there's men and women who are not. Because I work with constantly a lot of men. A huge percentage of my practice is men. I mean, at least 60%, if not more, I work with men. And these are men who are committed to the change. The one difference, and I will say this time and time again, it's the way we speak to each other. Men and women, we just speak different languages, and that's where a lot of the break happens is because we're not understanding each other's needs. So when each partner becomes curious and says, hey, listen, it's not about me. I want to understand what my wife needs, or I want to understand what my husband needs or my partner needs. Now it's a whole different ballgame.
That's the beautiful part of a new relationship that I've entered. We just respect the crap out of each other. Whereas there was no attempt in my marriage. It was constant arguing, name calling. It was disgusting. It was bad. So once you do see that there is a difference out there, it does exist.
It does exist. And I will, it's interesting that you say that because I had a friend of mine who's male, right? And we were talking and I said something, we were joking around and I said, oh, you could call me an idiot or something like that. And he looked at me, he goes, Donna, I would never, ever call you that. And I just
names have been called.
Oh, and you have no idea.
Right, me too. And I just stopped and
I will never
really
break
had
that.
me look that, like you said, the names that we've been called or the names. So don't put up just because you think, oh, this is normal, he's having a bad day.
No,
it's not true.
That's called dysfunction and it's called abuse.
The right person will never
I would be heartbroken to speak to the person I'm with now the way me and my husband that were together for 20 years spoke to each other on bad days. Never again. I don't want that kind of love. I don't want it at all. I'd rather be alone if we ever go down that path. And 2 years in, so I mean, it hasn't been perfect either, but the level of respect, I think, for who we are at our core, like he honors me and I honor him, and we both respect each other, I think is really the premise for any healthy relationship, is respecting one another.
It's a good foundation. Yeah. I actually watched something with Tony Robbins, who I'm a big fan of. Shout out. And, he was coaching some guy. Coaching some guy through his like relationship dramas. And he said something along the lines of like, when you're thinking about your relationship, it's a choice. And he said, it's not what you think. It's not who you choose. It's it's the version of you that you choose to show up with.
And that's 300% the beauty of my new chapter. And I think, and we'll end it on this note, is that's the part that gets me so upset. I feel like I've taken so much, like so many steps forward in blossoming and owning my new person and this new life just for myself and in my new relationship. And then I see my ex and I'm like, oh, so I think if we've taken anything from today, it's finding the foundation within yourself. Yeah. Answers the question that I came to the table with. How do we build a wall? It's not really a wall. It's having a clear foundation.
I think it's building standards. Yeah. I would love to use that. That's what I would think. Self-love. Sure. What are my new standards? What are my, which is self-respect, self-love. What I will take and what I will not, right? What's acceptable, boundaries, all of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we do that in therapy.
I love that.
We do that in therapy. I do that in relationship coaching therapy. So yeah.
We do that in business too.
Come see us. It's
On that note, Jess, can you tell our audience today how they could find us, what our landing page is, and all of that good stuff?
Yes, we would honestly love to hear from you all. You can find us at splithappensli.com.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to be podcasting next month from Donna's backyard in the pool.
We're going to be
in the pool. I think I'm going to open the forum for a really cool Q&A. So if you're listening this week, stay tuned. Be on the lookout. We're going to have a really cool Q&A again.
Yeah, and if you go to the website, you can drop us a note there too.
Yes.
There's an email address.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Split Happens.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend,
Bye.
guys.
Have a great weekend.